Welcome to Mr. Biz Radio, biz talk for biz owners. If you're ready to stop faking the funk and take your business onward and upward, this show is for you. And now, here's Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth.
All right, welcome to another episode of Mr. Biz Radio with me, Mr. Biz, Ken Wentworth. And this week we have a repeat guest. Dr. Noah St. John was on the show, I want to say maybe 4-ish months ago, something like that. We, as often happens, we talked, and then after the show, he and producer Alan and I talked for another, 20 minutes or something, and time just flew by. And I said, man, I got to have you back on to talk about his most recent book, which we talked about at the time. And subsequent to that, I actually bought the book, read the book, Millionaire Affirmations, and so I wanted to have him back on to talk through some of that. So again, Dr. Noah St. John is known as the father of AFFORMATIONS, not affirmations, AFFORMATIONS, and the mental health coach to the stars, working with Hollywood celebrities, 8-figure company CEOs, professional athletes, top executives, and entrepreneurs. Noah is famous for helping his coaching clients make more in just 12 weeks than they made in the previous 12 months. He has also appeared on over 1,000 media outlets, including ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, Entrepreneur, and Success Magazine. You can get a ticket to Noah's upcoming virtual event, actually, 7-figure mind intensive, valued at $1,000 for free when you go to 7figuremindintensive.com. That's the number 7, figuremindintensive.com. Dr. St. John, welcome back to Mr. Biz Radio.
Well, thank you, Ken. It's great to be back.
Yeah. So, like I said, right after the show, I'm like, man, I got to go out and get your book as soon as it's available. And like I said, I got the book, I read the book, I got the workbook with it, actually sitting over there. And I wanted to have you back on to kind of talk through some of that stuff. Before we get into that, for those of you who didn't see the last time that Noah was on the show, Noah, walk us through a little bit of your entrepreneurial journey, if you would.
Well, absolutely. Just to give you the very briefest of briefs, I grew up poor in a rich neighborhood, and I hated being poor. And so I was like, there's lots of speakers out there and they say, well, we were poor, but happy. We didn't know we were poor. In my family, we knew we were poor because my mother reminded us every day that we were poor and miserable. So it wasn't happy, it sucked. And so I hated being poor. I hated that life of poverty and fear, lack, not enoughness, because I saw that right down the street where I lived, there was great wealth and abundance. And so I just went to the library, read every book I could on success, self-help, personal growth, really tried to get it to work, but I couldn't get it to work. It was very frustrating. So at the age of 25, I decided to commit suicide because I was so frustrated. At the very last moment, my life was spared. I didn't know why at the time. And so I went on another long journey to find my purpose here on the earth. And 5 years after that, I discovered my life's purpose when I discovered AFFORMATIONS. As you mentioned, I'm known as the father of AFFORMATIONS. And also I discovered a condition that tens of millions of people are unknowingly suffering from that's actually causing them to hold themselves back from success, which I called Success Anorexia. So those two discoveries that I made in 1997, 25 years ago now, that's been really the basis of my entire work, my life's work over the past 2 decades plus. And, my 17 books that I published, my 18th and 19th books coming out early next year. So you'll have to have me back on the program. We'll discuss those new books. So that's really how it happened, Ken. And, as you mentioned, I am known as the creator of the 12-week breakthrough. I'm known for helping my clients make more than just 12 weeks than they made in the past 12 months while winning their lives back. And, we've been able to do that hundreds and hundreds of times, over $2 billion for my clients, adding 6, 7, 8 figures to their business while working less, while getting their lives back. So it's really been an amazing journey. And, I'm very, very humbled and blessed to do what I get to do every day.
Awesome. Well, I want you to also share, I know you and I have talked, and I can't remember if we talked about it on the show or maybe it was after the show last time, but you had an epiphany in the shower, as I recall. You want to share that story with us real quick?
Yes, that's how I discovered AFFORMATIONS. I call it the shower that changed everything. And of course, I'm sure everyone listening to the program has had those aha moments in the shower when you get the answer to that question you've been thinking of. Well, I've been reading all those self-help books, as I mentioned earlier, and I really couldn't get them to work because they all said the same thing. Use these affirmations or statements of something you want to be true. You know, it's funny, as a keynote speaker and a coach, I get to speak to audiences all around the world. And one of the things I like to do with my audience members is have everyone stand up and say an old affirmation, you know, the old way that we're taught. And I say, I am rich. And everybody goes, I am rich. And you know what happens next? Everybody starts laughing. And I go, what are you laughing at? And they go, well, I'm not rich. And I say, but you just said you were. And they go, yeah, but I don't believe it. Right. See, so that's really the problem with the old way, the old method of affirmations. We say these statements, but we just don't believe it. So what I invented or discovered really one day in the shower that changed everything was a process of using the brain's embedded presupposition factor. Now, that's just a fancy way of saying when you ask a question, your brain searches for the answer automatically. So we actually call it also automatic alignment, because that's really what happens. You automatically align to what you really want using my AFFORMATIONS method. So rather than saying a statement of something you want to be true, like I am happy, I am rich, I'm thin, I'm successful, which your brain goes, no, you're not, right? You know, I call it the yeah, right response, because your brain goes, yeah, right, right? We don't believe it. Using my AFFORMATIONS method, you form these empowering questions like, why am I so happy? Why am I so rich? Why am I always in the right place at the right time? And using the embedded presupposition factor of the brain, your brain focuses on what you already have versus what you lack. And that is one of the methods, one of the ways that we're literally able to help our clients, add a lot of money, but also lose weight and just have that sense of peace, happiness, and fulfillment that we all really want.
Yeah, it's actually super interesting to me. And this is one of the reasons I want to have you back on is, when we talked before, when you first presented this to me and you said, literally you said, we kind of did a little test or whatever. And it is amazing that your brain just automatically does that, right? When you say, why am I so rich? You automatically, I found myself when we first went through that the first time we talked, and automatically my brain's like, well, because of, you start making the reasons of why. And so found it so much more powerful. And like I said, since I've read your book and I've been going through the workbook with it, and been doing that on every day. And it's 4 minutes, guys. Like literally, it's 4 minutes a day. Like if you can't spare 4 minutes to make your life better, and it's been super powerful so far. I've only been doing it a short period of time, but it's been super powerful. And once you bake it into your routine, I was traveling. I didn't take my workbook with me. And I got up and I was rushing around. I got up too late. I'd laid in bed too long, whatever. And I was rushing around because I had to get to a speaking engagement, and I didn't have it with me. And literally the middle of the day, I'm like, man, I got to go back. And so I'd done it enough that I could remember, right, and go through the process. But literally at lunch break during this speaking event I was at, I went out in the hallway and sat in a quiet space and just and did it. Got my notebook out and did the writing, and people probably thought I was crazy, thought I was talking to myself probably, but nonetheless, I got it done. And it's very powerful, guys. So I would encourage you, go out and look for the book, Millionaire AFFORMATIONS. It's available all over the place, but obviously our good friends at Amazon, you can definitely find it there. There's a workbook that goes along with it. Super powerful stuff. You can find out more actually what Noah's got going on at noahstjohn.com. That's kind of got a little bit of everything on it. And then you can go to, again, as I mentioned, sevenfiguremindintensive.com to talk about, to see about his most recent virtual event. Easy for me to say. And again, 7-figure, it's the number 7figuremindintensive.com. Go out and check that out. We're going to hit a break here, guys. We're going to come back. We're going to continue talking with Noah, how he helps people. Give us some examples. We're going to talk about Success Anorexia. I'm going to ask you about that too, because we hadn't talked about that before, but come back after the break on Mr. Biz Radio.
If you would like to reach hundreds of thousands of business owners every week, Mr. Biz Radio can help. Our show airs globally 7 days a week for more than 25 hours across several internet radio stations, plus 20 plus podcast platforms. Also, video exposure on the new exclusive Mr. Biz Network streaming channel, which gets blasted to 100 plus streaming platforms, and the Mr. Biz YouTube channel, and our 350,000 social media followers multiple times every week. Join Mr. Biz Nation as an advertiser by emailing us at info@MrBizSolutions.com.
Are you ready to automate your business? Automation is the key to scaling a business and building wealth. It's also one of the most difficult things for a small business owner to do on their own. If you're looking for help with automation, Pulse Technology CRM can help. We have an exclusive offer for Mr. Biz Nation. We will build everything for free, even if it's a sophisticated funnel. Visit thepulsespot.com/Mr. Biz for this exclusive offer.
Got a question for Mr. Biz you want answered on air? Email it to info@MrBizSolutions.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, this week we're talking with Dr. Noah St. John. He's a repeat guest. Got a lot of awesome stuff to share. And again, one of the other reasons I wanted to have Noah back on is this is something that, again, the vast majority of our viewers, our listeners, are entrepreneurs, business owners, but this is something that applies to everybody. And again, like Noah had mentioned, it's not just about being rich or about making money. It could be the weight loss goal you have. It could be just living a happier life, just living your best version of yourself, sort of thing. I know that sounds a little cliched, but it's so true. These things you can apply to so many different aspects of your life. So important. So Noah, I guess before we get into this, and you kind of scratched the surface on a little bit during the first segment, but for those who are not familiar with your work or who didn't hear the first show, can you tell us a little bit more what AFFORMATIONs are?
Yes, absolutely. By the way, I do want to give that link. It's for the Millionaire Book. It's getmillionairebook.com. That's very easy to remember. So getmillionairebook.com. And the reason you want to go there is because when you get the book on Amazon, then you go back to getmillionairebook.com and you get up to $300 worth of bonus gifts. Okay, right there at getmillionairebook.com. So that's where that, and also you can get the companion journal there as well. That's what, Ken, you were just talking about, the companion journal. So you get the book and the journal. Anyway, so AFFORMATIONs are my method that I invented 25 years ago, discovered in the shower that changed everything. And really, what's so funny and ironic about my AFFORMATIONs method that most people just don't know about, aren't aware of, is that you're already using AFFORMATIONs anyway. See, there's 7 billion of us here on this planet, and every single one of us, every human being is already using AFFORMATIONs. There's only 2 problems, though. The first problem is most people don't know they're doing it, right? Most people don't know that they're doing this method. And the second problem is, and this is the big problem, most people are using AFFORMATIONs in a very negative, disempowering way, as opposed to what I teach in my books and in my coaching and in my programs, which is to empower you. So let me give you an example. Most people are walking around unknowingly, unwittingly, unconsciously asking themselves really lousy, disempowering questions like, why am I so stupid? Why am I so fat? Why can't I lose weight? Why isn't my business growing? Why can't I get more patients or customers or clients? Why is there more month left at the end of the money, right? And excuse me. And so when you ask lousy questions like that, what do you think you get? You get lousy answers, right?
Right.
And that creates lousy habits, and that creates a lousy life. See, again, people don't know they're doing this. Nobody does it on purpose. And yet it doesn't matter because of the law of sowing and reaping, which is an ancient law that's been taught for centuries. As you sow, so shall you reap. But we're sowing seeds of thought. And yet most people are sowing lousy thought seeds, like I just gave you examples of, right? So when you sow lousy thought seeds, you get lousy results. That creates a lousy life, even whether you're doing it on purpose or not. That's why I share my story, which I shared earlier, of the fact that I decided to take my own life. Those were the kind of lousy thought seeds I was sowing and had been sowing my entire life up until that point. Why am I so stupid? Why can't I do anything right? Why does nothing ever work out for me? Well, what do you think my life looked like? It looked exactly like that. So using now my AFFORMATIONs method in the positive way, in an empowering way, it empowers you, meaning you access your own inner power to take action and to change your habits, change your results, change your income, and change your life.
Yeah, and I know you had mentioned this when we talked through this when you were on the show before a few months back. Mm-hmm. And as you were mentioning it, I remember that day I was on my way to the studio, and I got stuck behind a train, and I was ticked, And so I was doing exactly what you said. I'm like, why is it always when I'm in a hurry?
Right.
Why do I always run into this crap and I'm in a hurry? And then it turned into more personal. Why do I wait to the last minute? Why didn't I leave the house 15 minutes earlier? Why I could have left. Why didn't I? And so again, it's disempowering, like you said, and it kind of spirals out of control. It's that,
That's right.
that proverbial snowball rolling down the hill, but it's coming to crush you. It's not, you're not on it riding it. It's going to crush you. And so I think it's something so important for people to realize. And I've, since you've been on the show, you know, I catch myself, because I still do it. I'm getting much better at it, but I catch myself now, like stopping that negative self-talk and the disempowering type of questions, the AFFORMATIONs, because man, like you said, when you're having a bad day and you start to do those things, you're going to have a really bad day, because as you said, you just continue to, you know, in your own headspace, talk about those things, and it just creates more of the crap that's going on that's making you mad in the first place.
That's exactly right. And that's why the companion journal that you were talking about earlier is so important to go along with the book, because you get a whole year that we give you, you know, and I'm not sure how much you've already done, Ken, in your journal, but I mean, it's a whole year so that you can literally make this a habit. So, you know, even as you just described, I mean, you've been doing it, and let's say you forget it, or, you know, have to leave it at home or whatever, you can still do it in your, you know, in your daily practice to make it a daily habit. Because if you think about it, you know, what is a bad day? What's a bad day? Well, a bad day is a day, right? It's a day that you're focusing on what sucks in your life right now. Oh man, you know, I don't have the money I want. I don't have the clients I want. I don't have the business that I want. You know, I don't have this, I don't have that. And the problem, or a problem, an additional problem, is with social media, right? This makes it all so much worse. What is social media but everybody posting their highlight reel? Hey, look at me here in front of my boat. Here's me on my helicopter. Hey, here's me on vacation. And you're sitting there going, man, my life sucks, you know, compared to these guys. And that's the whole point. And so social media is just another way that we get reminded of what we don't have. So I'm certainly not suggesting don't be on social media, take everything off your phone. I mean, I don't think that's realistic for most of us. However, what I am suggesting is to say, okay, when I have those kinds of thoughts of, oh, my life sucks, oh, this isn't any good, I don't have that, and he or she's got so much more than I do, how is that helping you? It's just reinforcing what you don't have or what you think you don't have. So what my AFFORMATIONs does, or one thing that it does, is it helps you to turn that, to literally just flip it around. Instead of why don't I have, to focus on what you already have, and to frankly feel grateful for that, not in a fake way, not in a pretend way, but in a real way that actually really does change your life.
Yeah, it absolutely does. You know, like you said, with that, I forget the technical term, but you know, essentially that when you ask yourself the question and your brain starts to be Google, right, to come up with the answers as to why am I rich? Why am I thin? Why am I in shape? Why am I in such good shape? For me, it's almost like it's not just the AFFORMATIONs part of it, but it's almost like in some ways, on some days it becomes like a brainstorm for me. Because I'll come up, even though it's the same question, I may have gone through 5 other days, you know, in the past.
Yep.
On that particular day, because of I was, you know, in a more creative space or whatever it might be, all of a sudden it's like I came up with something new, like, oh crap, yes, I can do that. So very, very powerful. Love it, love it, love it. So guys, again, Dr. Noah St. John's our guest this week. You can find out more at noahstjohn.com. That's noahstjohn.com. You can get the book, Millionaire Affirmations. And again, it's on Amazon, but go to getmillionairebook.com, because I completely forgot. I'm glad you mentioned that, because when I got it and went back and put the order in and I'll number to get the free content, all additional content. So go to getmillionairebook.com. I'm telling you guys, get this book. It's an easy read. It's got tons of great information in it. I'm not just saying that. Noah's not, you know, he's not asking me to do that or whatever, but it is a powerful book. I promise you will like it no matter what space you're in. Come back after the break. We'll continue talking with Noah, and we're going to find out more about what is Success Anorexia.
How would you like to have direct access to Mr. Biz to help you run your business more profitably and more efficiently? At MrBizSolutions.com, you get live access to not only Mr. Biz, but also several of his hand-picked and trusted business experts, each with 20 plus years of experience to help you optimally manage and grow your business. That's just the start of where Mr. Biz Solutions begins. Learn more at MrBizSolutions.com. That's MrBizSolutions.com.
Business owners have a continually growing to-do list with little time for revenue-producing activities. With Check Off Your List and their experienced team of virtual assistants, you can focus on growing your business. Visit checkoffyourlist.com to learn how Check Off Your List's skilled team can handle your day-to-day tasks like social media, bookkeeping, calendar maintenance, and much more. Contact Check Off Your List at checkoffyourlist.com or call 888-262-1249 to see how their virtual assistants can help you live to work rather than work to live.
Check out all three of Mr. Biz's best-selling books at MrBizBooks.com. Now, once again, here's Mr. Biz.
All right, welcome back to the show. Again, talking with Dr. Noah St. John this week. And I teased it before and we didn't get to it in the second segment, but I wanted to talk about something you'd mentioned, you just kind of briefly mentioned in the first segment, and that is what you call success anorexia. I'm very perplexed, Noah. What is success anorexia?
Just like millions of people are unknowingly and unwittingly starving themselves of food, right? I discovered 25 years ago that millions and millions of people are also unwittingly, unconsciously starving themselves of success. Now, that doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense to, the conscious mind, because you're like, that doesn't make any sense, right? But one of the things that I actually started to call it recently is this topic of what I call head trash. All right, this is another one of my books called Get Rid of Your Head Trash About Money. You can find that on our website. But basically, success anorexia leads to this condition that I call head trash, which is the voice in your head that says, I can't do it because ... So for everybody listening to the program, I want you to think about your goals, right? So as a business owner, you want to grow your revenues, you want to increase profits, you want more clients, you want more leads, more sales, right? All of those things that we entrepreneurs want every single day and are striving for and working hard for, right? So that's what I call your pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But what do those things really represent? Well, hopefully for you, they represent more freedom, more time off, more time to enjoy your family, your friends, the finer things in life, or just relaxing, whatever it might be, just that feeling of fulfillment and happiness. The problem is that for millions and millions of business owners, they're going after those things really, really hard in their conscious life, right? They're consciously working really hard every day, but subconsciously and unconsciously, they're actually holding themselves back from the success they're capable of, and they don't mean to do it. Let me give you an example from one of my coaching clients. So I was talking with one of my clients, his name's Charles, and he actually read one of my books. He passed by my book in Barnes & Noble. He said something in it spoke to him. He bought it. He reached out to me like he hadn't even finished the book yet. And he literally contacted me on my website and he said, Noah, I need you to coach me. And so I asked him a very simple question. I said, Charles, how much do you think not getting rid of this problem is going to cost you this year? And without batting an eye, he said $1 million. If I don't get rid of this head trash, it's going to cost me $1 million. And so I said, okay, I tell you what, why don't you give me 10% of that $1 million? And I will find that $1 million for you. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He said, yes, it is. So he paid me $100,000 to coach him. Well, the point is, Ken, that I actually not only doubled his money, I more than doubled his money to literally more than $500,000 in just 12 weeks of us working together. So what does this mean for the person listening? What it means is I want you to think about what it is that you want, your goals, and that's fine to focus on, but then think about, are you subconsciously holding yourself back? Are you telling yourself, I can't actually do that, even though I want that? I don't think I can do it because I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I can't afford it. I don't have the connections. My spouse won't let me do it. My kids are in college or whatever the excuse might be. And I'm not saying those things don't exist. I'm saying that if you keep telling yourself you can't do it because as hard as you're working and running and running and running every day, you're driving down the road of life with one foot on the brake.
I love that analogy. Yeah. And again, I could tell you, I mean, there have been times in my life where I've gone through that exact, scenario you're talking about is, and I think it's, it's sometimes, especially, again, it goes back to what you mentioned earlier, last segment is, I think once that wheel starts to spin in a negative direction, it starts to spin faster and faster, and becomes more and more difficult to get out of. And it sounds like that's probably where you were in that unfortunate situation, many moons ago. Got into that space. And so, obviously who else better know how to get out of that than someone who's been there, done that, you know what I mean?
That's right.
So let's talk a little bit more about head trash. So I know, again, I know that's one of your books. And head trash. We all have head trash. I have it. I got some right now, to be honest with you. So, but tell us a little bit more about that concept around head trash, and how do we take out the trash?
Absolutely. Well, why do you think I wrote all these books, Ken? I mean, you can see behind me on my bookshelf. I mean, I published 17 books, so far, and my 18th and 19th coming out next year, basically all on this one subject: how to take out your head trash, right? So head trash is if you think about the things that you want, and then the reasons or excuses, the reasons you're telling yourself you can't get it, that is a function of head trash. All right. So here's one of the things that this is literally where we start with our coaching clients, like Charles and many, many others that I've coached over the years. But think about what it is that you want. Right. And that's really where we have to start. What is it you want? And everybody goes, well, I want more money. Okay, great. Here's $5, go away. No, I mean, you got to get a lot more clear than that, right? You got to get really more specific. So what is it? If you're at X and you want to get to Y, all right, well, what is that? And then what is the time frame? And then you say, okay, Noah, well, that's very clear. I've got that. And then I would say, well, there are two forces in our lives, all right, in our businesses and everything, our relationships, our health, literally everything. And we call them driving forces and restraining forces. So the driving force is like your foot on the gas in your car. If you think about driving your car, that's all you're doing. You're going from point A to point B, right? You're going from where you are to where you want to be. Even if you're driving down the street to the grocery store to pick up some milk and eggs, right? I mean, you know what you want, you know where you're going, and you know why you're getting there. Well, it's the same with your life. It's the same with your business. But the problem is most people don't know where they want to go. They don't know why they're going there, and they really don't have a vehicle to get there, right? And they're driving down the road with one foot on the brake. So there's kind of like 4 problems there, right? So you can look at every single one of those 4 problems and go, wait a minute, I don't know if I have the right vehicle. I don't know if I know where I want to go. I don't know if I know why I'm going there. And most importantly, I think I might be driving down the road with one foot on the brake. So that's the driving force is the foot on the gas. The restraining force is the foot on the brake. And for millions and millions of entrepreneurs, that restraining force is right here in their subconscious mind, which again, I refer to as head trash. So what I believe, and I mean, I don't believe it, I've seen it literally thousands and thousands of times over the past 2 decades plus, is when you get rid of that head trash, you literally get your foot off the brake. And then that's one of the reasons, if you go to our website, you just see these incredible stories like Brittany, who went from zero, literally nothing, failing at everything. That's her words, not mine. But, she'd failed at everything to now she's over 40 million in sales. Adam went from 4 million to 20 million in sales. Tim went from being stuck in fear to 5 million, a $5 million a year business. And stories go on and on and on. And this is one of the main reasons that we've been able to see and get our clients, results like this.
And think about it, guys. So this is what I was mentioning earlier. These incredible testimonials, and there's, as you mentioned on the website, there's a ton of them. These aren't because Noah's imparting some new awesome sales script on people, right? This has nothing to do with that. It's all mental. It's all your outlook, your mindset, how to change that. And again, the head trash. So we've only got a little over a minute left here, no, but what is like the number one? So I'm out there right now and I'm thinking, man, I got a lot of head trash. What's one thing I can do like in the next 24 hours to help at least get rid of some of that head trash?
Number 1, where do you want to go? Number 2, what are you telling yourself about the reasons you can't get there? And number 3, I want you to start arguing with yourself, not in a bad way, but just saying, why aren't those things true? In other words, if you say, I don't have the time, that's bull, because you have the same 24 hours as Mark Cuban and Warren Buffett and everybody else. So it has nothing to do with the time. If it's you saying I don't have the money, again, that's an excuse you want to poke holes in. So start poking holes in your own excuses.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Again, guys, Dr. Noah St. John, you can find out more at noahstjohn.com. You can find his book, Millionaire Affirmations, highly recommended. Mr. Biz recommended. Go to getmillionairebook.com, easy to remember. And then if you want to find out more about his upcoming virtual event, you can go to 7figuremindintensive.com. That's number 7figuremindintensive.com. Noah, thank you so much for coming back on the show. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely have you back on once you have these 18th and 19th books out.
Sounds great.
Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great week. And as always, don't forget, cash flow is king.
To become part of Mr. Biz Nation, follow him on all social media platforms or never miss a show by going to MrBizRadio.com. If you prefer free video content, visit the Mr. Biz YouTube channel or check out his streaming channel, which is available on 100 plus streaming platforms at MrBizNetwork.com.